Hello everyone. Welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. General Hospital. Carly's worst relationship ever was this forgotten guy. Total disaster exposed. General Hospital has Carly Spencer, Laura Wright, is in another toxic relationship right now. This time, it's with the local WSB boss. It's another guy she doesn't belong with and who needs to go. But is Jack Brennan, Chris McKenna, the worst guy she's had in her life? Hardly. We're going to dive into Carly's 5 worst relationships of all time. Some are so bad they make Jack look like a romantic lead from a Hallmark movie, not the lying, tricky creep that he is. I'm going to rank these relationships of Carly's from 5 to 1, counting down to the absolute worst guy she's been with. And just to be clear, I do not have Jack on the list because she's still with him right now when I'm making this. And we don't know how his and Carly's story will end. Maybe he'll turn out to be a better guy. We'll see. 5. Kidnapping and passion. Carly's complicated relationship with Lorenzo Alcazar on General Hospital. Number 5 on the list is a character that I really like, and I love the actor that played him. I wish General Hospital would bring him back, and that is Lorenzo Alcazar, Ted King. If you remember back in 2003, Carly was kidnapped by Alcazar. He was obsessed with Carly and an enemy of Sonny Corinthos, Maurice Benard, at the time. So, Alcazar snatched Carly and held her on his yacht. Despite the kidnapping, Alcazar captured Carly's attention, too. I mean, she didn't hold Brennan planning to kidnap her against him either. So, it's kind of a weird thing to overlook more than once, right? After Sonny accidentally shot her in the head, as one does on a soap opera, Carly got these really obsessively strong feelings for Alcazar. She was having passionate dreams about him. And Carly ended up checking herself into Shadybrook, trying to shake off these feelings, but they later wound up married. And Alcazar wanted to make all her dreams come true. The bottom line was this relationship with Carly and Alcazar was toxic because he and Sonny hated each other and tried to kill each other more than once. And during that time, Carly had multiple, if I recall correctly, mental health spirals and wound up institutionalized more than once. Later, when she got her head on straight, she called things off with Lorenzo. But I remain a huge fan of Ted King who played the role, and I thought his chemistry with Laura Wright was off the charts. I would love to see Lorenzo and Carly try again, even though it was a mess and it was a toxic relationship. 4. From serial killer to stepson. The twisted saga of Carly and Franco Baldwin on GH. Next on the list, number 4 is Franco Baldwin, last played by Roger Howarth, who is now dead and gone but was totally reformed before General Hospital killed him off. So, back in the day when James Franco originated the role, he was an artist who got off on killing people and making a spectacle of it. He was a true sociopathic serial killer. But Jason Morgan, Steve Burton, killed Franco, first played by James Franco. And that was that until GH hired Roger Howarth to play Todd Manning, Roger Howarth, his character from One Life to Live. But there was a lawsuit with Prospect Park, and Roger could not play the character. GH had to do something, so they resurrected Frank. And eventually they began to redeem him with Roger Howarth playing the part. When Franco got involved with Carly, she thought Franco was Jason's twin. And to be fair, Franco tried to be better for Carly. In fact, Franco saved Michael Corinthos, then Chad Duell, from drowning, which impressed her. And it kind of made up for the fact that Franco had Michael raped in prison. But then later they did a retcon and said it wasn't true and that he didn't really arrange for it and he was actually trying to protect Michael. He definitely did. Franco even stabbed his crazy mom, Heather Weber, Allie Mills, to save Carly from her. Carly's betrayal and Franco's revenge. But then Carly cheated on Franco with Sonny. And Franco gave Carly his ugly necklace he was using to spy on her and make recordings, and he got her and Sonny on tape confessing their roles in A.J. Quartermain's Sean Cannon murder. So, it got really toxic when Franco waited until their wedding day, where Michael was a guest. And Franco played the recording of Sonny confessing he shot A.J., which of course horrified Michael because that's his bio dad. And it blew up their wedding just as Franco intended. It was such a messy split for Carly and Franco and honestly one of her worst pairings. But it was good TV. 3. A calculated betrayal. How Carly seduced her stepfather, Tony Jones on General Hospital. The next guy is a relationship that was very early on when Carly first came to Port Charles back when Sarah Joy Brown played the role. If you recall, Carly was adopted. Her mom, Bobby Spencer, Jacqueline Zaman, was a teen prostitute when she got pregnant with Carly. So, Bobby gave up Carly for adoption, hoping she'd have a better life. And Bobby later turned her life around, went to nursing school, made something of herself, and married Tony Jones, Brad Mall. And that is the guy who is the third worst relationship on my list. Carly came to Port Chuck intent on ruining Bobby's life. She felt like her mom abandoned her and Carly wanted to make her pay. So part of the plan was to rip Bobby's marriage apart. So Carly seduced Tony and made sure Bobby walked in on them. And of course, it was on their anniversary. Even worse, Carly got pregnant by AJ, but then she claimed Tony was the dad. That turned out to be a lie. But at that point, her destroying his marriage and then taking away his hope that he was going to have this kid, Carly had just pushed Tony off the deep end with all the mind games. So, he kidnapped Michael and Carly wound up shooting her stepdad-turned-lover, Tony. This was honestly probably Carly's worst relationship in terms of toxicity, but I didn't rank it as number one because Tony, in the end, was not a horrible guy. He was a decent guy who really didn't deserve what Carly did to him. He was collateral damage when Carly was ripping Bobby's life apart. And Tony's reaction and his over-the-top behavior after that was actually understandable. It was such a soapy story. Has had her fair share of romantic catastrophes over the decades. Some messy, some traumatic, some wildly entertaining, and a few so iconic they practically shaped Port Charles' history. Her marriages to Sonny were tempestuous but unforgettable. Her rivalries turned romances with Jax and Drew had charm and heart. Her entanglements with Lorenzo Alcazar and Franco bordered on dangerous obsession. But every GH fan tends to agree on one truth. Carly's worst relationship ever wasn't Sonny. It wasn't Alcazar. It wasn't even Franco. No, her biggest romantic disaster was the one Port Charles barely remembers. A relationship so bizarre and ill-fated it barely lasted long enough to make the highlight reels. Yet its impact was unforgettable, especially to Carly. Enter Dr. Ian Thornhart, the forgotten disaster boyfriend Carly wishes the universe would permanently erase from her past. Yes, that Ian Thornhart. The brilliant but brooding physician from her 2002 to 2003 era, whose charm was paper-thin and whose schemes were about as stable as an early 2000s dial-up connection. This relationship was so strange, so rushed, and so catastrophically mismatched that even Carly herself barely references it anymore. But a new Port Charles shakeup, paired with a resurfaced threat from that chapter of her life, forces Carly to confront the truth. Ian was the worst romantic choice she ever made. And now the past is coming back to haunt her. Carly's terrible taste phase. A walk down cringe memory lane. Before Carly became the powerhouse we know today, the confident owner of the Metro Court, the fierce matriarch, the unapologetic hurricane of loyalty, she was a woman on the edge. Sonny and Carly had imploded yet again, and she was emotionally vulnerable, impulsive, and determined to prove she didn't need Sonny Corinthos to survive. Enter Ian Thornhart, whose tragic backstory and mysterious vibe made him seem edgy and irresistible to Carly. But hindsight is brutal. Ian wasn't just emotionally unavailable. He was practically allergic to emotional intimacy. He wasn't just moody. He radiated walking red flag energy. And he wasn't just hiding secrets. He was neck-deep in danger and deception, dragging Carly straight into the heart of trouble. Carly didn't fall in love. She fell into chaos. The beginning of the end. A relationship built on lies. Ian might have initially come across as a misunderstood healer with a haunted past, but Carly quickly discovered he was hiding more than emotional baggage. His secret obsession with biochemical research. His sketchy alliances. His reckless willingness to break the law. His manipulations. His ability to constantly make Carly feel like she was the problem. It didn't help that he made Sonny look like the reasonable one in the equation, and that's saying something. Carly found herself defending Ian, excusing him, and worse, believing she could fix him. Spoiler alert. She could not. And by the time everything fell apart, Carly was left shaken, embarrassed, and grateful the whole thing ended before it could completely destroy her life. So yes, Ian Thornhart wins the crown for Carly's worst boyfriend ever. The forgotten disaster resurfaces. Now, fast forward to the present. Carly's running the Metro Court again, trying to rebuild after the Jason-shaped hole in her life and dealing with the never-ending Corinthos family chaos. She's strong, busy, and absolutely not interested in revisiting ancient history. But fate, and Port Charles, loves irony. It starts with a mysterious booking at the Metro Court under a name Carly hasn't heard in over 2 decades. E. Thorne. Long-term suite. Paid in advance. Carly freezes. Because nobody in her life has been able to shorten Thornheart without giving her PTSD flashbacks. She wants to believe it's a coincidence. Maybe a tourist. Maybe a distant relative. Maybe someone who really likes roses. But as she's walking through the lobby, a familiar voice hits her like a cold slap. Carly. She turns. And there he is. Ian Thornheart. Alive. Older. And still a disaster waiting to happen. Carly's fury unleashed. Ian tries a smile. A soft, "I've missed you" look. Carly's expression turns to stone. "Oh, absolutely not," she snaps. "Poor Charles has enough problems without you adding to the stack." Ian insists he's changed. That he didn't come to stir up trouble. That he needs her help. Carly laughs in his face. Loudly. "You need me? The last time you needed me, I almost got arrested, kidnapped, killed, or all 3. Hard pass." But Ian's not deterred. He reveals he's being followed, watched, hunted.